Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
She felt so awkward but could only say, "Well, it's all right. I will leave you to it, and I will go first." She then left the principal's office without looking back. Ivana was anxious, worried about not getting the necklace as Snow left. "Please excuse me, Mr. Ellison, Uncle Sebastian," she quickly said and left, chasing after Snow. "Wait for me, Snow." Mr. Ellison looked at the two girls and shook his head. At first, he thought that there was something about Snow that allowed her to stay beside his grandson, not expecting that she was just a poor pretender whose modus operandi was so unsophisticated that even fools knew what she was doing. Thinking of this, he cast a disgruntled look at Harvey. Harvey bowed his head respectfully, but his expression remained unchanged. Sebastian squinted at Harvey, feeling not very comfortable with him. But since Mr. Ellison liked him, they had nothing to say as an outsider. Harvey smiled gently, but there was no emotion in his eyes. "Glad to meet you again, Mr. Wyance. Let me see you out." Sebastian gave Mr. Ellison a meaningful look. The two of them had finished discussing what they wanted to discuss before these juniors came. Mr. Ellison got the hint as soon as he saw the look in Sebastian's eyes. "Don't worry, Mr. Wyance. I will deal with the person who spread the rumor and take care of her at school." It dawned on Harvey immediately. It turned out that Sebastian was here for Nicole. He came probably because he had heard the rumor about Nicole and him. Harvey's face darkened at the thought of this. Who the hell is Nicole that Mr. Wyance cares so much about her? Sebastian's expression softened. "Thank you, Mr. Ellison." Mr. Ellison nodded and then motioned for Harvey to see the guest out and made a pleased gesture. Sebastian left the office with Harvey. After they left, the serious look on Mr. Ellison's face eased up. He sat down in his chair with a smile on his face. "I was right about Nicole. How nice would it be if she could be my granddaughter-in-law? She is definitely 100 times better than Snow." The morning session was over. Nicole walked out of class with Lulu and June to lunch amid the chatter around her. On the way, Lulu asked Nicole in disbelief, "Did you really help Vivian?" Everyone had learned that Nathan, Bobby's brother, had been stalking Vivian for a long time. People said that Nicole struck this time to help the Collins family. "No, I was just helping Sammy. I wasn't that magnanimous, I just wanted to help Sammy." "But you still indirectly helped Vivian." June looked at Nicole with a serious face, feeling for her, "But Vivian hasn't said a word of thanks to you until now." Lulu also echoed, "Yeah, she's been creating trouble for you all this while. You shouldn't have helped her." Suddenly, a voice came from behind them. "Did I ask her for help?" The three of them saw Vivian's angry face when they looked back. Lulu and June were not holding back. "What did you say? You're biting the hand that feeds you. What an ingrate. You all." Vivian's face flushed, but it was all because of Nicole. She could not help but grit her teeth and look at Nicole. "Don't expect me to be grateful to you simply because you've helped me. I'm not done with you yet." She then stomped her feet and left. June was pissed. What kind of person is this? She was not only ungrateful but also nasty. "Yeah, how can there be such a person?" Lulu echoed. Nicole was helpless. "Let's go. I didn't mean to help her anyway. I don't need her to thank me." Then Nicole walked forward. Just then, Snow stormed out of the lecture building and bumped into Nicole. Stunned, she immediately turned around and left. Nicole could not care less about her, and the three of them continued walking toward the cafeteria. On the way, they saw Samuel and Spencer, who spotted Nicole and ran toward them. "Nicole, you're also going to the cafeteria?" The two siblings were usually busy and rarely went to the cafeteria, but since they bumped into Nicole this time, they wanted to join her. "Yeah, why not?" Seeing the smile on their faces, Nicole immediately knew what they were thinking. "Great." Samuel was overjoyed. The two siblings walked with Nicole, forgetting that June and Lulu were there. Meanwhile, June and Lulu could not be more nervous. Especially June, who looked at Samuel with a smitten face, so nervous that she kept her head bowed and followed them from behind. Nicole noticed June's expression, glanced at Samuel, and teased her. Haven't you been following the news of Samuel on the school forum, June? Can't say anything when you meet him. Unbosomed, June immediately felt embarrassed. I didn't. Only then did Samuel look at June. You're June, Nicole's classmate? I have heard your name. Nice to meet you. June's face reddened and she quickly said, Nice to meet you too. Lulu quickly glanced at Nicole with an evil smile. Nicole chuckled and introduced her to Spencer. This is my roommate Lulu. Lulu glanced at Spencer and blushed. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Spencer held out his hand. Lulu's heart pounded in an instant. Wow, it's so nice to be with Nicole. What an honor to shake hands with one of the 8 most good-looking guys of the school. After shaking hands with Spencer, Lulu quickly pulled back her hand, nervous as a cat. Spencer looked at Lulu and somehow thought the girl was cute. They soon arrived at the cafeteria. While having a meal, Spencer asked, Are you not having class in the afternoon? Yeah, I have no lesson this afternoon. I will have a half-day break. That's great. So are you going home? Samuel asked after taking a bite of chicken thigh. Yeah. After spending a few days abroad, I'm thinking of going home to spend time with Dad and Mom. She felt relieved for not having to go back to the Riddle family manor and happy to spend time with her parents. Alas, we have classes in the afternoon. We can't go back with you, Samuel said with disappointment. Your courses are busy. Don't worry about me. Nicole knew they had a lot of club activities, and Stanley was busy with the student union. They're busy, but I'm not. I'll send you home. Preston's voice came all of a sudden. Nicole looked back and saw Preston and Edwin. When Edwin saw Nicole again, he had a dramatic look in his eyes. He had investigated Nicole day and night for several days but still found nothing. All he got were dark circles under his eyes. Why are you sending my sister home? You're not going in the same direction. Spencer looked warily at Preston, whose mother was Karen, with whom his family had been at odds with. Can't I stop by to see Uncle Daniel and Aunt Gloria? Preston looked facetiously at the 2 siblings. The 2 siblings wanted to refuse, but Nicole said, It doesn't matter. His bike is fast. Nicole liked Preston's motorcycle after having seen it once. Since Nicole had agreed, the 2 siblings could only agree. Well, be careful on the road. Don't worry. Nicole smiled. Preston and Edwin also had lunch at the same table, and because of that, June and Lulu became even more nervous. What is happening today? We have 4 of the 8 most good-looking guys in the school sitting here. I can't describe how awesome it is, all thanks to Nicole. After the meal, Nicole bid farewell to Lulu and June, as well as Spencer and Samuel, and walked out of the school gate with Preston. Halfway, Edwin had gone back to rest at the dormitory because he had not gotten enough rest. Preston told Nicole to wait in front of the school and soon rode in with his motorcycle. It was not as badass as the Dodge Tomahawk, but it was still the best motorcycle in the country. Nicole looked up and down at the bright blue motorcycle with a faint appreciation look in her eyes. May I? Her request surprised Preston, but he came to his senses and cocked an eyebrow. No. It's too dangerous for a girl to handle a motorcycle. Nicole was unruffled. She took the helmet he handed her, put it on, and then hopped on the back of the motorcycle behind Preston. Preston fired up the engine, the motorcycle roared to life and sped along the road toward the Riddle mansion. Nicole sat behind him. Feeling the wind whistling past her ears, she could not help smiling. Preston liked motorcycles as much as Nicole did. The 2 soon arrived in front of the mansion. Preston first got off the motorcycle. Just as he wanted to hold out her hand for Nicole, she took off her helmet with one hand and flicked her long hair before getting off the motorcycle nimbly. She then threw the helmet to Preston. Seeing him looking at her in a daze, Nicole became baffled. Preston looked at her, his heart shuddering at seeing her demeanor at this moment. Her beauty is like no other, sassy like a shooting star. Afraid that Nicole might be frightened, he had only driven 70 miles per hour just now. But her calm expression surprised him. He even felt dizzy at 70 miles per hour 2 years ago. Preston smiled at seeing her sassiness. You should have been my sister. And snow and rain are probably fake. Nicole heard the undertone of his words and smiled jocularly like a blooming purple iris, cold yet beautiful. Am I not now? She turned around, waved her hand gently at Preston, and entered the house. Preston looked at her as she went, a sincere smile appearing on his handsome yet wild-looking face. He shouted at Nicole, "See you later." Nicole did not look back, just raised her hand and mimed an okay with her fingers before she disappeared from his sight. He sighed, straddled the motorcycle, and sped away. Nicole went in through the door with a laid-back attitude. She noticed there was an extra pair of shoes at the door. She heard a gentle voice before she reached the living room. "Mr. and Mrs. Riddle, I'll show myself out. Don't leave now. Stay for dinner." Nicole was at the door just after Gloria said that. Nicole froze for a moment when she saw the guest. "I think I've seen him in the photo from Mr. Wyant's office." Martin froze for a moment when he saw Nicole. He came here on behalf of his father to inform Gloria and Daniel that they would deal with the school's rumor. But he hoped he would be lucky enough to see Nicole in person. "I can't believe I got to meet her in person. She was bright and brave." Martin thought about the racing video. He was love-struck when he saw how gentle and beautiful Nicole was as she walked in. Nicole spoke first. You're Mr. Wyant's son, right?" Martin shook off his fascination. "Yes. Do you know me?" Nicole nodded her head. "Sort of. I've seen your photo in Mr. Wyant's office." Martin was surprised. I can't believe Nicole knew about me. This made him feel unaccountably happy. "I've heard about you too. This is my first time seeing you in person." "I just can't believe how gorgeous you're," Martin said shyly. Gloria could not help but glance at Daniel. She looked ambivalent. Daniel was calmed. Although Mr. Wyant's going to become the governor soon, Martin still can't rival Jared. He stood by Jared. "You're being overly gracious. Why did you come here?" Nicole asked politely. Martin shook his head shyly. "My father wanted me to come and apologize to Mr. and Mrs. Riddle and to inform them we will handle the school's rumor properly." Nicole thought for a second. She quickly realized what rumor Sebastian Wyants was talking about was. Mr. Wyants doesn't allow this kind of thing to happen. Especially when he's about to be appointed as the governor. He would certainly send someone to deal with the issue properly. "That's great." Nicole was at ease. "This is better. I have less to worry about." Martin nodded his head as he said, "I should go." "Okay." Nicole did not make him stay. Martin was a little disappointed as he looked at her. "Well, this is my first time coming here. I shouldn't bother them too much. I should leave now." Gloria looked at Nicole after she walked Martin to the door. "I heard Martin's established competence medically. Nicole, you have some medical knowledge too, right?" Nicole glanced at Gloria as she asked, "Did you visit grandfather with Dad today?" Mr. Riddle Sr. was the only person who knew something about her background. Gloria nodded her head calmly. "Yes. We wanted to know more about you. But your grandfather didn't tell us much. He only told us about your hobbies." Nicole was relieved. She did not want her parents to know much about her true identity. She was afraid that they would be dragged into trouble. "All right. Father and Mother, I'm hungry. I want to eat," she said. In a baby voice, intentionally to change the subject. "All right. Dinner is ready. We'll eat right away." Gloria went to prepare the food happily. Daniel walked toward Nicole as Gloria left. "You must be careful with Martin. Don't give him a chance." Nicole raised her head suspiciously. She did not understand what Daniel meant. Daniel then coughed strangely as he left awkwardly. Nicole had a puzzled look on her face. What's wrong with Dad and Mom? Nicole went back to her room after dinner. She turned on her computer to see what had happened while she was gone. Zeke was online not long after Nicole logged in. "Nicole, you're back." Nicole saw the moving profile picture icon. She opened it and replied yes. Zeke was overjoyed. "Why didn't you come to find me at the field? I was alone and bored." Nicole smiled slightly. "You'll have company very soon." "Ow." Zeke froze for a moment. He did not know what Nicole meant. But Nicole went offline right after she finished doing her work online. She did not reply to him. Zeke was thinking about what Nicole said all night. He did not sleep well. The next day, he went to the field on time. He did not dare to reach there late, even just for 1 minute. But Nicole was already waiting for him there. She was not alone. Austin was standing behind her. Why is he here? Zeke was one of the big shots in Northern Institute. Naturally, he knew who Austin was. They even had a feud. I should be the one asking this question. You're from Northern Institute. Why did you sneak into the campus of Royal Creek Institute? Zeke gave Austin an angry stare as he said, I can go wherever I want. No one can stop me. Zeke had already gotten approval from Mr. Ellison before he came to the field. The old man had to allow me to come to show due respect for my dad. Nicole curdled her eyebrows as she looked at Zeke and Austin. You guys know each other? No. They replied unanimously. They then looked away and ignored each other. Nicole sighed. Anyway, starting from today, both of you are my apprentices. Now that both of you have decided to learn martial arts from me, I need you two to get along. Ah? He wants to become your apprentice too. Zeke looked disgusted. She's my boss. So, it's normal that she teaches me. Austin looked disgusted too. They were at daggers drawn. Nicole did not bother to calm them down. Since the two of you can't stand each other, fight each other. Ah? Fight? Austin froze. Boss. Are you kidding? You want us to fight? Austin thought, didn't she hate it when I fight someone? Yes. Nicole looked serious. On the other hand, Zeke was ready to fight. All right. Don't blame me if he's hurt. Austin was furious as he heard that. I'm not afraid. Let's fight. They actually fought after Austin said that. The field was empty because it was still too early. Or else people would have gathered to watch. Austin was a bully at school. He had some fighting experiences. His movements were clean. Although Zeke did not fight someone before, he picked up some moves from his father, Carlo. He actually knew some tricks, but he was inexperienced. Zeke did not dare to hit hard, so he looked very passive. Nicole noticed all their problems within 5 minutes of their fight. Okay. Stop, she said coldly. They were overwhelmed by each other's attacks. They finally had an excuse to stop fighting. They stared at each other as they panted. You guys barely know how to fight. Austin, I have no idea how you can become a bully in a school. Austin was speechless. I'm great at fighting. The bullies from nearby schools were afraid to fight me. Nicole glanced at Zeke too. You can't even protect yourself properly with your skills. Your father would be furious if he saw that. Zeke blushed as he said softly, that's why I wanted to learn from you. But you always asked me to jog. Nicole sighed, that's basic physical training. You still have to jog every day in the future. But from now on, I'll teach you guys some techniques. Really? Zeke's eyes brightened. Of course. Nicole nodded her head. Austin was overjoyed too. Teach me, boss. I'll learn well. Yes. Do learn well. Nicole gave him an angry stare. She then turned back to teach them some moves. Training is over. You guys can now practice on your own. If you can perform these moves properly, both of you can spar. Do memorize them well. All right. Zeke and Austin nodded their head. They were no longer at daggers drawn. They started to practice those moves Nicole taught them. Nicole then went back to her class satisfyingly. The lessons taught in the class were easy for Nicole. Teachers no longer kept a close eye on Nicole after they knew she was a genius. She could do whatever questions she wanted. After 2 classes, Ms. Emerson mentioned the school anniversary celebration arrangement on the stage. This year is Royal Creek Institute's centennial. We'll celebrate it with plays. We'll also invite some special guests to watch the shows. The play's theme of our class is set. We need 2 lead actors, 2 primary supporting actors, and 8 secondary supporting actors. Everyone was excited about the school anniversary celebration. But Vivian was the first student to raise her hand as her eyes brightened. Ms. Emerson, I want to become the lead actress. Ms. Emerson did not expect Vivian to be so straightforward. She then looked at Vivian up and down. She said awkwardly, Vivian, You might be more suitable to play the supporting roles with your height. You're not suitable to be the lead actress for this play. Vivian's face instantly turned pale when Ms. Emerson rejected her request directly. I was always the first one to request to be the lead actress whenever there were plays. And I'll always get it. I heard some directors were among the special guests this time. I was told that the best male actor, Lloyd Holder, would come too. He might also want to find a lead actress for the new drama, Lukewarm. I can't believe Ms. Emerson to turn down. Vivian asked, who will be the lead actress then? Ms. Emerson did not select Nicole directly after she heard that. However, she could not help but glance at Nicole. Nicole, on the other hand, looked like she did not care what was going on. It seemed like she did not want to participate in the play. Ms. Emerson sighed, I'll nominate a few students. After that, you guys will cast your votes. She thought, people are discerning. They'll know who's the most suitable one to become the lead actress. Vivian was frustrated suddenly. But the poll would decide the lead actress, so she could not argue with Ms. Emerson. Ms. Emerson then turned around and wrote 2 female students' names for the lead actress role. One of them was Nicole. While the nominees for lead actor were Gary and Jack. Jack did not expect he would be comparable with Gary. He was secretly rejoicing. He even could not help imagining the scene where he and Nicole were the lead actor and actress. Suddenly, Gary kicked Jack's chair. Jack's hand that was supporting his chin slipped. Gary gave him a scare. Gary, what were you fantasying about? Gary obviously noticed Jack's anthomaniac. His eyes were filled with unhappiness. I did not mean it. I'm hardly comparable to you. Jack lost his nerve immediately. Gary snorted coldly. At least you're self-aware. Ah, of course. Jack nodded his head. Gary then said coldly, then, you know who to vote for later, right? Jack froze suddenly. He could not help but sigh in his heart. Looks like I'm no match for Gary. And sure enough, Nicole and Gary won after 2 rounds of voting. After all, the other female nominee was unexciting. Her look was not comparable to Nicole's either. Lulu was chosen to be the supporting actress, while June was selected to play the role of the female lead's best friend after she raised her hand to volunteer for it. After seeing what happened, Wayne and Jack could hardly wait to raise their hand to grab roles. Finally, the 2 of them got the family servant and butler role together along with Bradley. Vivian stared at the results on the blackboard. Ms. Emerson did this intentionally. Other than Nicole, those that were chosen were good friends of hers in the class. What made Vivian the angriest was that Gary was voted as the lead actor. Vivian was jealous and brokenhearted at the thought of Nicole starring alongside Gary. This was a golden opportunity, but Nicole took it away from me. Vivian was furious. Ms. Emerson left without allowing Vivian to object. Nicole was utterly surprised too. It was obvious that Ms. Emerson planned that. It seemed like she was afraid that Nicole would turn down the lead actress role. That was why Ms. Emerson made the class vote. Nicole was popular recently. Naturally, everyone would vote for her to impress her. Nicole did not even want to participate in this pointless thing. But Ms. Emerson left right after announcing the results. It was obvious that Ms. Emerson was afraid that Nicole would reject the role. Nicole sighed. She knew she could only talk to Ms. Emerson about it after school. Vivian walked toward her just as she thought about that. Nicole, I want you to find Ms. Emerson to quit the lead actress role. Nicole was furious suddenly. She raised her head as she looked at Vivian's justly face. Why should I? Nicole did not want the role initially. But after hearing what Vivian said, she did not want to quit anymore. Why? Because you're from the countryside. You don't even understand a single thing about the play. You're not good enough for Gary too. There was a dead silence suddenly. Gary's eyes were filled with coldness as he looked at Vivian. Nicole thought for a bit. Oh, no wonder you were always against me these days. And you wanted to take the lead actress role so badly. It was all for Gary. She smiled. She then intentionally glanced at Gary. He looked embarrassed suddenly. Nicole, what nonsense are you talking about? Gary did not want to be dragged into her fight with Vivian. Nonsense? Look at her expression. Nicole smiled playfully. She knew exactly what was going on in Vivian's mind. Vivian's face turned red suddenly as she glanced at Gary. She then said shyly, "Enough crap, Nicole. Just tell me whether or not you'll give up the lead actress role." Nicole stared at Vivian as she laughed like a flower suddenly. "Initially, I didn't want to participate in this play. I was going to find Ms. Emerson after school to tell her about it. But I didn't like your attitude. So, I decided not to quit." "What?" Vivian froze suddenly. She did not expect her action made Nicole change her decision. She was furious suddenly. "Stop acting nice. I don't believe you wouldn't want to play such a good character. It's just a play. It's just to play the gallery to seek the special guest's attention. Do I look like I lack attention?" Nicole raised her eyebrows as she asked the rhetorical question. It was completely silent suddenly. Indeed, Nicole did not need to fight for the role like everyone else. Mr. Ellison and Mr. Wyance are the two biggest shots. She did not need to fight over the acting role. Vivian was fuming suddenly. She knew she could not win the argument against Nicole. She could only stomp as she said, "Nicole, don't flatter yourself. We'll see. I'll not lose to her." Nicole nodded her head as she smiled coldly. "Anytime." Vivian could not help but stomp as she left. Gary felt an unexplainable excitement as she looked at Nicole's face when she was provoking Vivian. Does this mean Nicole wants to star alongside me in the play? Gary felt inexplicably happy as he thought about that. He could not help but look forward to the rehearsal. After school, Ms. Emerson told the participants about the rehearsal time. She then informed them to go to the rehearsal. Gary saw Nicole pack her stuff to leave. He then did the same and chased after her. Nicole did not look at Gary even though she knew that Gary was following her. Gary was perturbed. He said softly, "Is this really your first time acting in a play?" "Yes," Nicole said coldly. "If you have anything that you don't understand, feel free to ask me." Gary smiled brightly. Nicole glanced at him as she said unhappily, "Gary, do you always feel superior whenever you do something? Do you always think that others need your help? This dude, he always says he wants to help me whenever he sees me. But I don't need help from a weakling." "No, I don't." Gary curdled his eyebrows. He did not expect that Nicole would think of him this way. She wasn't wrong. "I can only blame myself for being so self-righteous last time. I thought Nicole didn't know anything about mathematical Olympiad. Now that I know she's a genius, I feel so stupid." Gary sighed as he said in a serious tone, "I didn't understand you last time. I was wrong about you. This won't happen again. You could ignore me if I said something that made you feel uncomfortable." He then walked ahead of Nicole right after he said that. Disappointment could be seen on his back. Nicole frowned her eyebrows as she stared at Gary. He's weird. What happened to the aloof dandy? Soon, the students reached the rehearsal hall. They only realized that they were not alone in the rehearsal hall after they reached. Classes from the high school and university departments were there for rehearsal too. Nicole looked toward there. She saw Samuel and Spencer. It seemed like they were both the lead actors for their respective classes. They stood at the center, while Stanley was standing in the middle of the crowd. It seemed like he was waiting for everyone to reach for the meeting. "Gary." A sweet voice could be heard, causing everyone's attention. Rain was there too. She stood beside Gary immediately after she saw him. But Gary was not in a good mood. He did not want to talk to her. He then went and stood at the center of his class. People were standing on both of his sides. Rain could not stand beside him. Rain noticed Nicole was standing next to Gary. Why is she here? She was anxious. Does this bumpkin even know anything about play? And she actually came along for the ride. As a secondary supporting actress, Lulu stepped forward frustratingly as she said, "Nicole's our lead actress." "What?" Rain opened her eyes wide suddenly. She felt aggrieved as she looked at Gary. "Gary, are you the lead actor?" Wayne glanced at Rain as he said coldly, "Of course Gary is our lead actor. If not, who else could do it?" Rain had a long face. She did not expect Nicole to get the lead actress role and starred alongside Gary as the main character. She was fuming at the thought of them rehearsing and acting as a couple in the play. Jack kicked Rain when she was down. "Rain, Gary's very upset recently. He doesn't have time for you. Please be self-conscious. Step aside, alright?" Jack was straightforward. Gary did not have time for Rain. If it was back then, Gary would have definitely scolded Jack. But today, he actually did not even deign to look at her. Everyone could not help but gossip among themselves. Back then, Rain had always said that both she and Gary were a couple, yet Gary had never said anything about it. By the looks of things, could it be that it was Rain who was just flattering herself? Sensing the gaze of everyone around her, Rain let out a wronged look. "Gary, do you really hate me that much?" Gary could not help but glance at Rain, and as he saw her dolled-up face that was full of crocodile tears, he felt disgusted and spat. "Yes." Rain was completed stunned. She had not expected Gary to speak to her like this, without care of the Riddle family's standing. Instantly, she felt so humiliated she could only stomp her feet as she turned and ran out. Rain!" Someone from her class chased after her. Stanley saw the commotion and immediately maintained order. "The reason I called all of you here today is to arrange the timetable for the rehearsal hall. Have all classes arrived yet?" "Class A of 11th grade is not here yet," someone reported. Stanley nodded, and sure enough, he did not see Nora's class, nor did he spot Snow's class either. Just as he was about to ask what was going on, someone suddenly came through the door. "Shit. The girls from Class A of the freshman year and 11th grade are fighting." "What?" Stanley's expression turned sullen the moment he heard that. "I'll go have a look." Samuel and Spencer were afraid that their big brother could not control the scene, so they followed behind. Everyone else looked at one another before following suit to watch the drama unfold. Someone from the university division is fighting the high school division? "Nicole, let's go have a look." Before Nicole could even react, Lulu and June had dragged her by the arms out. Just as they walked out of the rehearsal hall, they heard the howling coming from the outer hall. "Snow, are you sure you are hitting the right person?" "The person I want to hit is you. You diamond-stealing thief. You've been absent from school for a few days now, and I finally got my hand on you." Snow's shrill voice thundered, surprising everyone. Is this the school beauty that everyone had admired? After seemingly losing her status, Snow no longer gave any hoots about her image. Ever since Nicole told her the truth, she had been waiting for Nora to return to school, but as she had been busy settling into her new life for the past 2 days, so she only returned to school today. Now that she had an avenue to unleash her pent-up wrath, how could she forgive Nora? I did not steal the diamond," as Nora cried and pleaded as Snow hurled abuse at her. Yet it was useless. Her cousin was a few years older than her and was a little stronger. A few slaps were all it took for her cheeks to be flushed red. "You didn't? I've purposely retrieved the security footage from the manor and also asked the servants, and here you are still trying to lie your way out of things." Snow snarled inwardly. Both Rain and I had been toyed around by this girl all this while. She even used me as a tool, and today I'll have my revenge. "No." Nora struggled, and when she saw Samuel and Spencer among the crowd of people, she rushed behind the two. "Samuel, Spencer, help me. Cousin Snow wants to beat me to death." Snow was taken aback for a moment when she saw Samuel and Spencer, yet the flames of fury in her heart burned bright. "Who's your cousin?" "You're nothing but a mutt that the Riddle family had picked up by mistake. Now that you're out of the family, what right do you have to call me cousin?" Everyone was stunned the moment she said that. When Nora told them that Nicole was her little sister that came back from the countryside, they had thought that they were blood-related sisters. Only now did they learn that Nora was a fake daughter of the Riddle family. So, Nicole was brought back from the countryside because she is the true daughter of the Riddle family. Everyone looked at Nora with disgust as they recalled her calling herself a daughter of the Riddle family. It turned out that she was just a fake. Nora had wanted to hide this matter until her graduation and did not expect Snow to let the cat out of the bag here and now. Nora gritted her teeth resentfully, wishing she could rip Snow's mouth apart. Yet, at this moment, the crowd was on her side, so Nora could only seek help as she pitifully looked at Samuel and Spencer. Samuel, Spencer. Help me please. Samuel hesitated somewhat, but Spencer had already recomposed himself as he said with a serious look on his face, Nora, was it you who stole the pink diamond that Snow lost? They had heard everything when they arrived. Snow struck Nora because the latter stole the pink diamond. Nora had framed it on Nicole, causing everyone to think that it was Nicole who stole it. Yet, when they questioned her back then, Nora refused to admit it. Nora still wanted to find an excuse. However, Stanley then walked out of the crowd. Snow said she had already pulled the footage from the manor's surveillance camera. If you are lying, we can find out one way or another. At this very moment, Nora's back was against the wall, so she could only pinch herself and say sheepishly, I just saw it being pretty, so I took it to have a look. The three brothers all showed a look of disappointment. They never thought that Nora, who had been a good, obedient girl all this while, had really stolen something. Spencer pulled Samuel away and said, you need to bear the consequences of your own actions. Samuel. Spencer. Nora totally did not expect them to be so ruthless. Stanley then said with an icy look on his face, Nora, you have already met your birth parents and left the Riddle family. We are no longer your brothers. When he said that, everyone was shocked. So Nora had actually moved out of the Riddle family and have also met her birth parents. So, she had the Riddle brothers no longer have any relationship any longer. Now those people who once envied Nora looked at her with contempt, as if she was just nothing but a liar. Nora had never expected to find herself in a situation after leaving for a few days. Feeling so aggrieved, she glared at Nicole. Fine. You guys just toss me aside after having her back, huh? I was the one living for over 10 odd years with you guys, and you guys treat me like this. Since you guys no longer acknowledge me as your sister, I do not want brothers like you either. As she said that, Nora tearfully turned around and left. Samuel felt sorry for her and subconsciously wanted to chase after her. Yet, he was stopped by Spencer. Although the reality is cruel, she needs to get used to it sooner or later. Don't give her false hope anymore. Samuel was at a loss of words for a good while. He also knew that he should not give Nora any more hope, so he stopped. Seeing Nora leaving just like that, Snow was still not satisfied. Where do you think you're going? Snow, enough. Suddenly, someone spoke out from the crowd, and when Snow heard the voice, her body froze. This is a school, not a wet market. His cold voice had an admonishing tone to it, and that caused a chill to run down Snow's spine. As she turned and saw Harvey's face, she immediately lowered her head. Harvey, why are you here? Harvey glanced coldly at her. Why? You're afraid that I would see you doing something stupid. Harvey thought, what Snow has done the past few days is so stupid. She's getting more and more unsightly.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.